Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be taking a look at some of the trial deck and the values associated it when it came out for Japanese Weiss Schwarz. That is because English Weiss Schwarz has announced that Lycoris Recoil pre-orders are open until October 27th. Spy Family is coming out on January 26th, Chainsaw Man February 16th, Lycoris Recoil coming out March 22nd. So we're going to take a look at how they did on the Japanese side. Now, Boochi The Rock is on here. There is no English announcement at this point. It is not coming out until they announce it. And I want to do that because I did not talk about the Boochi The Rock trial deck SPs when I first talked about the booster box. And the reason for that is I was saving it up for today because if you know what I'm about to say, then you know me too well just by looking at the screen. Lycoris Recoil is set to come out again March 22nd. Inside of the trial deck, there were 2 special rares. However, those special rares were not signed at all. When you got a case, normally you got 2, and it would be of these 2 lovely ladies. I do love Lycoris Recoil myself. I was really excited to see that it was going to be announced on the English side when it came out for a Japanese side. I did a bunch of videos on that. So if you want to see the card art, definitely check out my Japanese version of Lycoris Recoil, okay? Now, I know there's a lot of things that go into card prices and value. I would say myself, playability is one of them, how many were open, signatures, and the card art. Now, taking a look at these, what did you think this was going to be actually worth? I knew just taking a look at it, it most likely wasn't going to be worth to actually buy a whole case of these. And now, right here, as you can see, the Chisato was $23,990, and we have Takina at $59.90. And you could see the amount in stock, 4 for Chisato, 9 for Takina. So there was a whole bunch of things that were actually happening there. But what ended up happening at the end of the day, people that actually own some cases of this started selling them off pretty cheaply. Now, Japanese Weiss Schwarz just recently released Boochi The Rock. This came out on 9/29. There were 2 special rares in there, but as mentioned before here, some of these trial decks do not have signatures in it. And this time around, Boochi voice actress did not actually have a signature. It was Boochi's character signature. So you can see it actually says Boochi on there. Here were the actual cards. I tell you again, it comes down to card art, playability, signature. That's what we got going on here. And let's see what the prices were. So this is Nova TCG. I like using this just because we see on here actual dollar amounts versus converting to yen. So the Climax 91.99 sold out. The Boochi actual character one, 141.99 sold out. So again, because it's sold out, you can adjust the prices on it to be higher, all that stuff that you want to do. But in the end, was it worth it to buy an actual case of this? I leave you at that with some triple rares. So some other cards obviously are inside of there are going to be some of the flashy stuff, which is triple rares this time around. But if you take a look here, triple rare $10, $6, again sold out. So you can try to add all that up to factor in, is it worth it to actually buy a case? Spy Family, which came out on July 21st for the Japanese Weiss Schwarz side, coming out on us for January 26, 2024. Inside of here, there were 4 SPs. And again, if you follow this pattern, there are no signatures in it. What you got was actually just their character names, signatures, whatever you want to call that, because Anya didn't really look like a signature. It's just, a name. But as you can see here, the art's not bad. I like it. I don't like the frame on Lloyd, though. I didn't really understand that. The Yor was really cool, and then you have all of the family together. Now, when you think about this time, was it worth to buy a case? That's up to you, because as you see here, you ended up with 2 of these cards inside of a case. So you could play mix and match. You could go for the more expensive ones and say, was that worth actually getting a case? In my thought process, probably not. You can see here the Anya 19,800, Yor 29,800. Obviously, Lloyd was going to be less expensive, 99.80, but he was sold out. And the family together, 19,800, but sold out. Lastly, we have Chainsaw Man, and this one's a special case. This came out on April 21st for the Japanese side. Again, on the English side, February 16th. The big thing, if you saw question marks on here, it's because back then when this released, some of the cards types were unknown, and I left it like that on there. There was not a known amount of SRs at the time, but as I did the videos for how many cards were inside of it, I got my answer. But more importantly, I want you to take a look here. It says 2 super special rares, not special rares, 2 super special rares. This time around, they were signatures, and you take a look at the card. Some people hated the background on it. No matter what, at least you got actual voice actor and actresses' signatures. The only problem with that is because they were SSPs, you only got 1 per case. So if anybody could imagine the prices on this, if you remember back then, the Power was definitely going to be the one that was more expensive. This is off Nova TCG. Out of stock was our Power, $535.99. If you got the Denji, $151.99. The reason I bring all this up is because I want people to really think about what they want to buy and what they want to pre-order, what they actually want to own, their actual goals on all of this. Because when you think about it, if you're just doing this casually, you're just trying to play, you pick up 1 or 2 trial decks, if you get the SP, SSP inside of there, awesome. That's a great time, right? That's how it should be. It feels nice to actually get a nice card. If you are a person back then that just wanted to actually collect these cards and you bought a case of these, are you going to be happy at the end of the day that you buy a case for $800, your luck is terrible, and you get through 40 decks, right? And then you end up with a Denji. How would you feel at the end of the day on that one? Now, there's other people that says, why don't you just buy singles? That's because there are people spending a lot less money. People spending less on cards, investing, collecting, playing with them just because you don't have that money. Maybe it's the recession. Maybe you're going to say that it's just because people are paying back loans, because people want to invest in stock markets or CDs. No matter what the case here, you could try to pick up the single, but I say that in this way because anybody that's taken a look at cards lately, there's less interest in it because of all that stuff happening. Will the availability of these be out there, right? If people are straight up losing money, right? You buy 800 trial deck case and only get like $400 back. Are they going to keep doing that over and over and over again? Stores are pulling out. There's people that are pulling out, and I know some people are really happy about that to hear that. But when you think about your singles that you can pick up, the less amount of singles mean the higher the prices. So you definitely want that healthy sort of balance. So I will tell you again, what are you going to do here? Are you going to wait for this to come out and pre-order it at $800? Are you going to hope that someone bought too many and you buy a case for $500? Or are you going to pick up singles on the market? Or are you just going to say, screw it, the art's not as great as I thought it would be and it's not worth it. I'd rather just buy something else, buy some cards, buy a nice SR, move on with my life. So just definitely keep that in mind on what your game plan actually is. Now I want to flash over here real quick, and it has everything to do with Chainsaw Man. When Chainsaw Man was first announced, if you look at the product page, there was something that definitely caught my eye. And what caught my eye was this part right here, this SSP. And when I read that, it said hot stamp rare card. I pointed this out and I put it out there on Twitter just so people could see it. I'm like, can you tell me, anybody out there, if there are signatures inside of the trial deck, right? And people said, yeah, there will be. But I'm like, I am a very literal person. And on this product page by Weiss Schwarz for Chainsaw Man, it says hot stamp rare card. And why this actually matters is because that line, that term right there, is normally used to say no signatures. And we could see here on the Japanese side, there are signatures. Now, I'm just pointing this out here. I'm not trying to get you all scared or paranoid or anything like that, but I'm just saying that this terminology has been forever confusing to a lot of people. And again, this normally means that there are no signatures. So I'm going to show you what signatures actually look like. Here is Trial Deck Fruit of Grisaya. On here, there were SPs, and you can see every deck you purchase has a chance to contain one of the 3 rare cards with special embossing. And on here, you have the sign cards, the following sign cards, and it comes with the voice actors. Azure Lane, same thing. There's going to be signature cards. Do they have them down here? No, they don't have it down here. But if you take a look at the signature cards, it says SP sign card of voice cast. And then you see the actual cast. Ari Ferretta, we know that there were signature cards inside of the trial deck. And right here again, sign card of the voice cast 3 types. Now, if I take a look at Avatar, and I know it's hard to see because of the actual font they used, what you'll see is every deck you purchase also has a chance to contain 1 of 3 rare cards with special embossing, or 1 special rare card with special embossing and hot stamp. We know that there were no signatures inside of Avatar. Taking a look at Spy Family, what we have here are SP hot stamp cards. And remember, there were no signatures for that one. They were just the character names. If you take a look at Lycoris Recoil, what did we get here? No signatures on there for the Japanese release. This thing says hot stamped rare card. If I take a look at Guilty Gear, which is yet to come out, we haven't seen it. Special rare with special embossing and hot stamp 1 type. Now I tell you again, if I take a look here at Chainsaw Band, this one says hot stamped rare card. So that's where I left it. I do not believe they are changing it at this point because there is no announcement. Normally what they do is on Saikano and any other set that had it changed, they would tell us right here that the SP was actually changed. I was just a little weirded out because the actual term on here. So I point that out because I would say I would go with the fact that there's probably going to be signatures on these SSPs. But if they were to change that all of a sudden, like if they just put it out and go, oh, by the way, the artwork's changed, that wouldn't be surprising to me just because of what's listed here. Actually, I'd be somewhat surprised just because they should have told people before they pre-ordered the thing. But right now, I'm just overly cautious because you just never know what's going to actually happen here. But I would hope that, again, during pre-order time, which is right, well, actually probably already closed for some of the places, but make sure that you know this ahead of time. I think this terminology is confusing. They must have copied and pasted it from somewhere else and ended up with this. But just do keep in mind that that's what it currently says on the product page, okay? So if you have any questions, as always, please reach out to me. You can find me on all these places. It's all in the descriptions as well. But as always, have fun, be happy, don't spend anything outside of your budget.